Under the spotlight, Sam Heughan's calm blue eyes have always mesmerized millions, but few realize how much pain hides behind them. His fans see strength, confidence, and that familiar charm from Outlander, yet behind the camera, he carries emotions that words rarely touch. Those who have met him in person often say his gaze feels deep, like he's looking right through you, not because of arrogance, but because of everything he's learned to keep inside. From the very beginning of his career, Sam understood that fame would demand a price. Growing up in a quiet part of Scotland, he once dreamed of acting not for the fame, but for the connection, to make people feel something. But when Outlander exploded in popularity, everything changed overnight. Suddenly, the man who once walked unnoticed through Edinburgh streets became a global heartthrob. And with that fame came expectations. To always smile, always be gracious, and never show weakness. He's played warriors, lovers, kings, men of strength and conviction. Yet, the irony is haunting. The more the world fell in love with his characters, the more Sam began to lose touch with himself. He started to build walls, smile when the cameras rolled, and retreat into silence when the lights went off. Interviews showed glimpses. A pause too long, a sigh mid-sentence, but no one ever asked what those moments meant. Friends close to him once described Sam as the kind of man who listens more than he speaks. It's a strength, but also a curse. He's there for everyone, the fans, the team, the press, yet when it comes to his own pain, he keeps it buried. I don't think people understand how heavy it can be to constantly live up to what others expect of you, he once admitted quietly in a magazine interview. The line went unnoticed by most readers, lost among lighter topics. But for those who read between the lines, it was the closest Sam had ever come to admitting his struggles. Behind closed doors, he wrestled with the loneliness of fame, the kind that doesn't come from being alone, but from being surrounded by people who love an image, not the man himself. Social media made it worse. For every message of love, there was criticism, gossip, and endless speculation about his private life. Relationships, rumors, even his friendships, everything became public property. Every smile was analyzed, every gesture toward a co-star sparked new headlines. And yet, Sam stayed silent, not because he didn't care, but because he was tired of defending a version of himself that the world created. He once said, "You start to play the part people write for you, until you forget who you were before the script." That quiet confession revealed a deeper truth. Sam wasn't just performing on screen. He was performing in life. There were moments when his mask slipped. During one charity event, a fan thanked him for inspiring her through her cancer battle. As she spoke, tears welled up in his eyes, not from pity, but from recognition. It was as if he saw a reflection of his own fight, not against illness, but against emotional exhaustion. That brief second, captured on camera, became a rare moment when his vulnerability was visible. What makes Sam's hidden pain so powerful is its contrast with his image. To the world, he's the man who can face anything, heartbreak, rejection, loss, and still smile for the fans. But behind that resilience lies a story untold, the cost of always being strong. The moments when he felt unseen, unheard, and misunderstood. The more he tried to protect his private life, the more the world demanded to know it. The harder he worked to prove his worth, the more he realized success didn't fill the emptiness. Fame gave him everything, except peace. Those who know him best say his eyes often tell a different story from his words. When he talks about his career, they light up. But when he mentions personal life or love, there's a flicker, a shadow of something unspoken. And that's where the truth begins. Behind those blue eyes lies a man who has loved deeply, lost silently, and learned that not every battle is meant to be fought in public. But what exactly broke his heart, and what secret changed the way he sees himself forever, remained hidden, until he finally chose to speak. For years, Sam Heughan carried the weight of his silence like armor. Behind his calm expression was a heart that had been bruised more times than anyone could guess. But there comes a point when even the strongest facade begins to crack, and for Sam, that moment came quietly, without warning, in the middle of an interview that wasn't supposed to be emotional at all. When asked what he feared most, Sam didn't talk about failure or fame. Instead, he paused and said softly, "Losing myself." The interviewer thought he meant burnout, but the truth was deeper. Sam had spent so long becoming what the world wanted him to be that he'd forgotten the man he was before Hollywood. His answer was an admission, not of weakness, but of weariness. It was the first real glimpse of the emotional truth hiding behind his blue eyes. Those close to him say that period was the hardest of his life. Between endless filming schedules, constant scrutiny, and personal relationships that couldn't withstand the pressure of public attention, Sam began to retreat further inward. Friends noticed he'd grown quieter, his laughter shorter. "He's there," one co-star said, "but sometimes you can feel that part of him is somewhere else, thinking, remembering." That, somewhere else, often led back to moments of heartbreak. There were relationships that never had the chance to bloom because of distance, misunderstanding, or simply because the spotlight never turned off. People linked him romantically to almost every woman he shared a screen with, but few realized how much those rumors hurt him. Sam once mentioned, half-jokingly, "If people only knew how boring my real love life is." Beneath the joke, though, was fatigue. The pain of having something as sacred as love turned into gossip. What truly broke Sam's heart, however, wasn't a single failed romance or a harsh headline. It was the realization that fame had taken away his ability to trust easily. He started questioning every gesture, every word, wondering if people saw him or the actor they imagined him to be. It's a lonely way to live, to be admired by millions and yet unsure who truly knows you. Sometimes, he confessed, "I feel invisible in plain sight." It wasn't until he returned to his roots in Scotland for a film project that something inside him began to shift. Walking through the misty highlands, far from flashing cameras and red carpets, Sam found the silence he had longed for. It reminded him of who he used to be, the young man with big dreams, running barefoot across the fields, wanting nothing more than to tell stories that mattered. That reconnection wasn't just nostalgic, it was healing. He started opening up more in small ways. On social media, fans noticed his tone changed, more personal, more grounded. He spoke about mental health, about the importance of kindness and authenticity. Without ever turning it into a spectacle, Sam began to show that vulnerability is not weakness. It's strength in its purest form. In one touching moment during a fan Q&A, someone asked how he manages to stay positive despite so much pressure. Sam smiled, then said quietly, "I've learned that being strong doesn't mean pretending you're okay. It means allowing yourself to feel, even when it hurts." That line resonated deeply with fans across the world. It was the kind of raw honesty they had always sensed but never heard him admit out loud. The truth behind Sam Heughan's emotional secrets isn't about scandal or hidden love affairs. It's about a man learning to navigate the fragile balance between fame and identity, strength and softness. He is someone who has given the world so much, through his art, his charity, his resilience, yet still searches for moments that are purely his own. Those who have followed his journey can see the evolution. The same blue eyes that once carried sorrow now hold something different, acceptance. He's no longer running from his emotions but embracing them, using them to fuel his craft and connect with people on a deeper level. That's why his performances feel so real, because they come from a man who has truly lived every shade of emotion he portrays. In the end, Sam's hidden truth is one that many can relate to. Beneath fame, success, and admiration lies a human being who has struggled, fallen, and risen again. His story reminds us that even the most admired hearts carry invisible scars, and those scars are what make us beautiful. He once said, almost as a whisper, "If my story helps someone feel less alone, then maybe it's worth all of it." That's the power behind his blue eyes, not just the beauty fans see, but the courage to keep shining despite the pain they've witnessed. And for Sam Heughan, that's no longer a secret, it's his truth.